Coach, first off, congratulations on being promoted to offensive coordinator. Just what does it mean to be elevated to this position?
I mean, it means the world just to know that Coach Kenny and the rest of the coaches around here have the confidence in me to continue what we've done. You know, we got some really big shoes to fill with Coach Leftwich leaving, but you know, I've been in the system. I've been with Coach Kenny since Hawaii 2020, so we know each other. We know how we think, and just have a great line of communication. And at the end of the day, we got a great offensive staff. It's never going to be about one person or one guy. It's Coach Shoemaker, Coach Bryant, you know, Coach Neely. Everybody in that room is inputting and putting the work in and all that good stuff. Coach Shue does an unbelievable job with the run game and the O-line, and Coach Neely with the running backs and having those guys prepared. And then, you know, Coach Bryant with the tight ends, they kind of touch both ends of it with the passing game and the run game. So it'll never be just about me or one guy. So, you know, just the cohesiveness. I mean, Coach Shoemaker, Coach Bryant, we've been together since Incarnate Word. And so just being able to be in the room with each other for over 3 years, you know, it will make that transition very, very smooth.
Now, how did you and Coach Kenny kind of meet up in the first place? And how have y'all been able to kind of stick together for so long? You know, going from Hawaii and then obviously Incarnate Word and now here at Texas State.
So you know, we never really knew each other. I played at Tulsa. He played at Tulsa. He's about 4 or 5 years behind me. But Coach Graham was my DC when I was at Tulsa. He was Coach Kenny's head coach, and he got the head job at Hawaii, and gave me an opportunity to come out there when Coach Kenny was offensive coordinator. So, and I worked with Coach Kenny right underneath him and helped with the QBs and all that. So, just that instant connection, the Tulsa connection, all the different connections we had with each other, and then just stayed in touch. I mean, you could tell from the first day you walked in, you know, Coach Kenny's trajectory was on the fast track in this profession, and a guy that I wanted to learn from and that had done it at the highest level, and so just hung around him and learned from him and just stayed in touch. And then when he got Incarnate Word, things that happened at Hawaii, and I was looking for a spot, and he reached out to me. We actually saw each other at the convention when it was in San Antonio that year, and said, you know, I got a spot, and I said I'll be there tomorrow. And so been very blessed and fortunate to be around him for the last 4 years.
Yeah, what can you say about this offense y'all developed, you know, at Incarnate Word and then going into Texas State? How have y'all been able to kind of create this offense, just be able to, and then being able to adapt it to the FBS level?
Yeah, I mean, it's still just football, whether it's FBS, FCS, Division II. You know, I was at Division II school for 11 years, and it's still 53 1/3 and 100 yards long. So, but, you know, just guys that have been in a lot of different places. I mean, Coach Kenny, a lot of it comes from when his time at Tulsa to the time with Chip in the NFL, to, you know, all the vertical choice stuff that they got from Central Florida when he was there, and then the pieces that Coach Leftwich and Coach Shue from so again, it's just a melting pot of where all we've been, and I think a lot of it is cohesiveness and guys that have stayed in the building, because you know, if you have a complete turnover of staff, and then you kind of lose some things in translation. But we've been consistent with the staff, and we know what each other's thinking and how it works and how it pieces together, and I think we've done a really good job of setting it up for our players. You know, we have a base scheme, but at the end of the day, it's got to be what works best for the players, and we got to put them in a position that sets them up for success. And so, figuring out what they do best and molding that to their skills and talents.
And speaking of Division II, you know, you were OC at Southern Arkansas with your dad over there.
Mm-hmm.
Just what was that experience like? Just not only working with your dad, but also just developing yourself as a play caller over there.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It really was. Being able to work with him for 11 years towards the end of his career I wouldn't trade that time for the world. You know, it was really good, and it gave me a lot of. I was 26 years old and calling plays, and now a lot of throwing stuff on the wall and seeing what sticks and figuring things out. But you know, you can't trade anything for, you know, experience and calling it for that long. So I think that will definitely help, and just kind of lean back on that time, and then all of the knowledge I've learned over the last 4 or 5 years, from Hawaii to Incarnate Word to here, and being around the great coaches, just being able to apply that to what I've done in the past will be really good.
Now, looking at this Texas State offense, just what are some things you kind of like about this team, and what are some things you think they can still improve on?
Yeah, right now we got a group of guys that want to be really, really good. They don't expect anything. They're not coming with their hand out. I mean, they're just putting their nose to the ground and working every single day. So if you can continue to do that day in and day out, you're going to be really, really good. So I like the way we're working. And, you know, it's not a group of egos or I got to get mine or I got to have my touches. It's just what can I do with, you know, what's best for the team. And so, you know, we have some new faces. So it's just continuing to grow that cohesiveness and trying to figure each other out and what individual guys do best, and like I said, putting them in the best position to be successful.
Is there a position group that's been really strong this spring practice?
I mean, I think it always starts up front with our O-line, and we got a really, really good group of guys, some starters coming back, and then some guys that have been in the program and may have redshirted or been in a backup role that have really, really stepped up and put themselves in a position where they're going to provide a lot of value and help us. So very, very, you know, pleased with them. But I mean, across the board, you know, you look at our running back position, guys that have started and played a lot of football games and are all coming back. And again, a group that's very unselfish and just wants to do what's best for the team. And when their opportunity presents itself, have gone out there and done some really good things.
Then obviously a lot of questions around the starting quarterback. I know there's been a four-way battle for that starting position. Just when you first started spring practice, just what did you think about those four quarterbacks and how they kind of progressed?
They've done really well. I mean, they came in, you know, from 3 different programs, and it's a whole new language for them, trying to figure out how we operate and how we, you know, everything runs through them and the communication aspect of it, and you know, different how we, you know, handle different pressures or looks and different things, because you know they've come from and somebody's taught them something different. So now it's how do you progress and how do you do it the way we want it done. And so they've all done really, really well. I like our progression. I like where we're at. They all bring different, you know, strong suits and different talents and different things. So I'm really pleased. You know, we got a few more opportunities to go out there and continue to compete. That's what I just tell them. Just every day I want to see us getting better and better, and they've done that.
Has there been, in that quarterback room, has there been some players that have been able to kind of separate themselves from one another, or has it just been?
No. Right now we're trying to. We told all of them it's going to be an open competition, and that's what we've stuck to. So we want to give them a fair shot, and we'll reevaluate post spring and see where we're at, and you know, who knows how it'll play out. But like I said, I like where we're at in the room. We got guys from all different backgrounds. We got guys with a lot of starting experience to, you know, SEC experience to, you know, hometown guys to then, you know, you got Brad who was here last year. So a good group, and the best thing about it is it's not, I mean, we have fun in our meeting room. It's not a big high tension deal where they, you know, they're hanging out on the weekends and doing things together. So it makes it enjoyable to come to work with those guys.
Now, obviously, you know a lot about Brad, you know, from last year. Just how has he kind of progressed from being a true freshman last year, you know, having to run the offense in the second half against ULM to where he is now?
I think just a leadership role. He's trying to take on that a little bit more and doing a really good job. Just a guy that puts in the work and really, really wants to be great at everything he does. But a guy that doesn't, like I said earlier, doesn't come with his hand out or expect anything. He you know, we talk all the time about, you know, he's just, Coach, I just want to continue to get better, and the cards will kind of fall where they may, but you know, he's just an unbelievable person and a guy that, you know, is up in FCA and leads that and does all the other things right. A guy that you would want, you know, to be the face of your program. But you know, he's just one of the guys. I mean, all of those guys in that room are really, really good, and they're great people. So it makes it enjoyable, and you know, really rooting for all of them. You know, so we're in a great spot right now.
Yeah, leading up to the spring game, so what do you want to see from your offense as y'all take the field on Saturday?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've preached all spring just about a consistency. Like, being consistent in anything you do is hard. You know, being consistent in your marriage is hard. You know, and so just a consistency deal. You know, Coach Hughes every day in our off season talks about do it the right way and then do it again. And that's what it takes to be good on offense. You got to have 11 guys doing their job every single play. One guy messes up on offense, it's a bad play. You know, it's defensively, you can have one guy go make a play and saves the day. So a consistency factor, go out there and then just compete your tail off. I mean, every rep kind of like it's your last one. I want to see you guys compete. The wideouts compete for when the ball's in the air. The running backs in pass protection, owning the football. That's another thing that we've put a lot of emphasis on, is just taking care of the football. Because if you go back to look at us and all the great stuff we've done over the last couple of years, our turnover ratio and our turnovers have not been great, and so we've been really good so far. But we've put an emphasis on it and continuing to make good decisions, take what the defense gives us, but make really good decisions and two hands on the ball and all those things. I know we've talked about that before, but just really putting an emphasis on taking care of the football.
And as y'all go into summer, just what are some things you still want the offense to kind of focus on?
I mean, we always got to strive to get better. I mean, just the way we operate, we haven't even installed all of our offense. We wanted to be, very simple, not simple, but didn't want to put it all on them. Just we want to evaluate, let them play fast, put enough into where they can operate and do some different things. But we want to, evaluate these guys. So we'll continue to learn the game as a whole, as as a quarterback room. Just understanding defenses and against different looks, we like different things and all that good stuff. So, but I like where we're at. I told them the other day we're trending in the right direction. We just got to continue to come out here like, we challenged them, have day one energy, because day one of spring ball, everybody's fired up. I mean, everybody's bouncing around. What are you doing day 12 and day 13 out here? Are you still bouncing around with that same energy, or are you just looking to get through the end of the semester?
Also going into summer, the transfer portal opens back up. Just is there some pieces at some position groups y'all want to kind of look at, maybe add some depth or?
You never know. Right now we're solely focused on the guys in the building right now. I would think it would be a little unfair to talk about the portal. You don't know how it's going to play out. So I want to focus on our guys and give them a true evaluation and get through this spring, because like I said, I like where we're at. I mean, right now we could go with what's in the building and win a lot of football games, and so that's encouraging. It's not like we're sitting here saying, well, yeah, we got to go get 7 more guys or we're in trouble. With what we got in the building right now, we can go win the Sun Belt. So I like where we're at. We still got a lot of time. I mean, now how they do it, when they're training all summer with Coach Youth, they'll continue to get bigger, stronger, faster. Fall camp, we're trending in the right direction.
Coach, you just mentioned it. I know it's a long time between now and the fall, but with you taking over for Coach Leftwich, do you anticipate a lot of changes, like in play calling or offensive style? Do you kind of, since you've been here, like you mentioned, you kind of anticipate keeping things the way they are for the most part, or are you looking for changes? Or
no, I think if Coach Leftwich watched our games, he could see some subtle things, but for the most part, it's going to be the majority of what we've done. Again, we'll do summer studies and we'll look and see what was good for other teams last year, and maybe what was good against the teams we're going to play early. But our base stuff, like I said, it's still the same coaches in the room, and Coach Shue and Bryant and Ely and Coach Kenny's obviously heavily involved in all that. So we'll continue to just grow. You don't ever want to stay stagnant and the same. You got to be able to adapt, and we're going to have new guys in the building. So Jordan McLeod's not our starter anymore. So who's that next starter, and what does he do best, or who are the wideouts and what do they do best? So we'll always looking to put our guys in the best situation.
Yes, sir.